Good afternoon, everybody. Give everybody a minute here to pop on. Hello, Debbie. How are you? Hello, Erlene. I'm going to grab a sip of my coffee, and my hands have been so dry today. Hope you guys are all doing well. All right, I think I have everything. You know, those last few minutes that are just kind of like, oh, I should grab that. The BAMP for the retreat for L's, for the Elizabeth Craft Designs, that looks amazing. I'm not going, but I'm sure some people are, and I'm sure it will be such a wonderful time. Hello, Rhonda. Are you going, Debbie? Creative Scrapbooker Carnival just opened. Hello, Irene. So they're Calgary and Edmonton. If anyone's going to that, I will be there with Creative Scrapbooker Magazine, as well as with Scrap Shotz. So we'll definitely be doing make and takes. Hello, Rosie. We'll have our booth there. Debbie, that's going to be your 65th birthday celebration. That's great. I'm assuming you're talking about October. That's a really nice birthday way to celebrate your birthday. Hello, Lorraine. How are you? Hello, Cynthia. So if I know Cynthia was around, and I forget who else's name I saw on Monday. I did a live for Creative Scrapbooker Magazine with some winter woods, with that winter woods collection. And I'll just show you them here. We're waiting for everybody to pop in. You are far away. I know, Irene. Too far. Maybe someday you'll fly to Calgary to see us. So this, on Monday, I did a live where we layered embellishments. That's on the Creative Scrapbooker Facebook page if you want to go look at it. But Scrap Shotz has all the Winter Woods collection in the shop. And we use the Elizabeth Craft Designs, the dies, the library pocket dies, I think it's called. And that's what I did the backgrounds with. We've got some glacier paste and some of the White Blizzard Nouveau glitter drops, which I love. Some more of that glacier paste. Anyway, it was really fun. And there's just a little demo about layering if you like layered embellishments. You can check that out. Your husband will be watercoloring while you're in the classes. Very nice. Does he do a lot of watercoloring? That sounds amazing. Watercolor is such a beautiful process. So today I thought we would look at some more of the 49 and Market. I'm going to try and zoom out a little bit here. You see my rainbow tablecloth. And so we've got 49 in market. We've got some of these new All and Create. There's some beautiful stencils and stamps as well in the shop, and they're relatively new for us to be carrying. These are cute, so we'll look at these. We have the Blossom and the Eucalyptus. So last week we looked at the Rouge and what was the other one called? Let's see, Tranquility. You could, of course, mix and match any of these if there's things that you like from each collection. So we'll look at those. And we've got the alcohol ink Dura Bright and Duralar transparent sheets and the black opaque matte sheets. And I really need to do a little more research on this. And I swear that I saw Tim Holtz doing mentioning these or doing some kind of a live, and I cannot find it anywhere. So if anybody knows, you could just let me know. And the crayons as well. Like, I think it was kind of all in the same live, and I think I'm just not looking. It's probably in with another live. So if anybody knows off the top of their head, let me know. We've got these sanding discs, which look very cool, and they go on the blending tool. And so I thought, you know what, let's just try them out. These are the 3 latest colors for the Distress colors that are out. These are the crayons. So it's set number 14. And I guess it would probably say on here. Debbie says mostly old wood. My husband's upstairs, so I don't know what he just dropped. It sounded like his phone. Debbie, mostly old wood, locks, wine glasses. Oh, nice. Truly, his art is, in my opinion, amazing. I'm sure it is. Yes. He will not sell his pieces. Well, that's fine. I'm glad that he loves doing it. So this is called the Uncharted Mariner. They bring out 3 at a time. So this is Saltwater Toffee and Villainous Potion. So all beautiful colors. We can kind of play around with that. And I thought, let's just do a few swatches of the Distress, the new Distress. I have been playing with this. I just made a video for Creative Scrapbooker magazine. It'll come out this month, but it is a larger tag, one of the etc. tags, and I use some of the spray, and I absolutely love it. I wasn't sure. I love all the Distress, so I knew that I would like it, but you know how some of the colors come out and they're bright, honestly, and he's worse than a kid. And you think, as soon as you look at it, you think I have to have it. This is going to be one of those have to have, because I think it's one that you're going to add to your projects, and it's going to totally kick it up a notch. So we'll play around with that too. So let's move these for a second. We'll look at the 49 in market first. Move these out of the way a bit. So this one here is Blossom, and I think I have to zoom out a bit. I feel like I can't really get that zoom exactly right today. Let's try that. The Distress pens and watercolor crayons. Do you mean the pencils? I'm going to actually use the pencils today for something I thought that would work with the ink. So we'll have a look at both of them, Debbie. They definitely are different, but sometimes it's hard to tell. Like there's so many products, and unless you know what they do, yeah, it's you need to kind of see what they do to make sure that you're going to use them. Yes, these papers are gorgeous. So this is the color swatch paper. It's the 12 by 12 collection pack. There's 8 double-sided, and then you get one of their exclusive prints on the back of the cover sheet. So there's just a look at the back of the paper. These are so gorgeous, just as background papers or to mix and match with the patterned papers. Let me grab the rest of what I have here, and there's probably more in the shop as well. Yes, Lorraine, so pretty. So let's see, we've got the mini collection pack here. Here's a look at these gorgeous papers. So pretty. And you get 18 sheets, and these are 6 by 8. So of course you can combine them with this. Isn't that gorgeous? Like it almost seems like there's a texture on there. Love the mixed media feel. And I think, in my opinion, this would look beautiful with this. Then we have the Blossom acetate leaves. So the leaves are like an acetate. We'll just open them up to see. This gives you a look at everything in there. And I would totally use this backing as something as well. You have loads of the Caran d'Ache watercolor crayons. Okay, and I've never heard of those. So are they more like a crayon like waxy, or are they more like a watercolor pencil? So you can see this is an acetate plastic. It's printed on the front there, really beautifully detailed. And I love the clear outline that's around that. So you've got the leaves, and you've got lots of butterflies in there. Really nice for layering as well. It is very beautiful. We've got the Blossom collage sheets. I haven't seen the collage sheets before, so this is very cool. These are a text weight, so that would be a light weight, and you could cut out the images, and then you could use like collage medium would be great to put it on, like a Mod Podge type thing. Yeah, anything that's going to collage onto your background is great. Those are beautiful. Really pretty. And there's 40 sheets in there, so you can see you've got a lot. We'll do a little collage tag just with some open paper that I have, and that would give you an idea about how you could use these. Okay, you'll let me know. Perfect. Blossom envelope bits. So these, you've got all these envelopes, and then you've got all these little papers that you can put into your envelopes. You can use them as your journaling. You've got some frames here. Those are very pretty. 31 die cut labels and frames, and 6 envelopes. And of course they match. These I think are very cool. There's 11 film strips in here. So you've even got that little print on the edge of them that look like the vintage film strips. My daughter, actually, my 16-year-old, she just turned 16. It's hard to remember to say that. She had a film camera and a roll of film that she had over the summer, and she was very sparing and made it last the whole summer, and took some of her like favorite photos, and she was so excited to get them developed. And so we just took them in and got them developed. It was a ridiculous price, but she loves these films. Anyway, it's funny because you don't think about film cameras anymore, but she was so excited. So you could put little photos in here. You could fill them with different papers. You could just put them on your background, and those are acetate as well. So that just gives you a look there. Then, of course, the rub-ons. I am really a big fan of the 49 Market rub-ons. They go on really nice and easily, and they're beautiful. And you get a really great selection. So you've got the leaves, you've got the butterflies, you've got the monochromatic leaves, and then like a paint kind of splattery look with some text. These are great, and you can cut these up however you want, and then these kind of match that label look. So some labels, that gives you a look at all of them. They're so pretty. You bought all of the rub-ons from all of the collections. Yeah, you can totally mix and match them as well. They are beautiful, and they go a long way. And we have the ticket essentials. So it's the perforated tickets and stamps. And there's 3 rolls in here. And let's just open it up. I love these. And I love the stamps. I think postage stamps right now are so big. So this is like a card stock. It's printed on both sides. And you can see there's a ton in there. Then you can tear them wherever you want, and you can stick them in like tickets. You can layer them. And then we've got the stamps. So these literally look like real postage stamps, I think, like vintage. A selfie printer, yes. I do have the Canon selfie, which I love. And she actually has... and I love it. I use it. I did get a bunch of pictures printed, but for anything that I need, that I'm just kind of thinking, oh, I want a scrapbook and I need this photo, I use my selfie. And then she has, I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's a little like a Polaroid one, but you can put pictures from your phone, send it to this little Polaroid printer, and it prints the little pictures that look like Polaroid. So she will print those once in a while. She has a banner in her room and they hang. She loves having photos. Yeah, the stamps are so cute. And then these are more like tickets, again, like a roll of tickets, but in a lighter color. So very pretty. I think, Lorraine, one time you were asking about these ticket things. I like that the stamps are there as well as the tickets. So that's the Blossom collection. And here we have the eucalyptus. So we've got the color swatch again. This is the eucalyptus kind of color that you're going to see throughout the collection. Very beautiful. Again, this really mixed media look. Yeah, it's very easy to take. And I would say after getting pictures printed at London Drugs, it is cheaper than getting them printed there. I like too that you can use, there's the little app with the selfie app. And so I usually print my photos either 2 on a 4x6 or 4 on a 4x6. Yes, the tickets do. And I think there was ones that we looked at last week, the washi tape. The washi tape actually had that little cutter on the side. So here is the mini collection pack. So the 6x8 papers in those beautiful colors. Irene, you love, I have heard that Epson is a very good printer. I like the selfie. You can definitely take it places, and I have heard really good things about the quality of the Epson. Pic collage. Okay, I do have that, but I really haven't played with it. Maybe I should look at it a little bit more. These are the film strips in the eucalyptus, and they're almost like a gray color. I think that they would go really nicely with any of the collection. So you know, you can mix and match these. If there's something in, you know, if you wanted green leaves and the rouge paper and, you know, something else from Blossom, you can definitely mix and match them. Here's a look at everything in the acetate leaves. So many features. I think that you can put like text and stuff on your pictures as well. Do you ever do that? This one is the frame set. These are very pretty. There's 18 frames, and so you get all these sizes, which are regular photo sizes. You know, they're not super odd. So sometimes I find frames that come in different collections are a bit, you know, I really have to be strategic when I use my photos, but these are pretty standard, which is nice. So it looks like there's stitching. Very pretty. Looks like the layers, those are really nice. Rhonda, you were torn between that one and Hickory. Yeah, no, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. And these are the envelope bits. So the same as we saw in the Blossom, but just in the eucalyptus colors. Serenity, I can't think of, let me think of what the collection looks like for Serenity. $49. Serenity. Let's see. I'm sure that they would all work nicely together. Okay, the Serenity is like a blue kind of color, and there's a look. So I would say definitely, because the green is more like a neutral and it's kind of you know, a sage green. So that just gives you a look at that there. The leaves. So I think so. And then I have two other things that I don't think I did show you the rouge last week. Oh, and here's the tickets. Let's look at the tickets and the stamps first. So here's a look at the tickets. That's such a beautiful color. Oh, no problem. Yeah, blues and greens look great. And here are the stamps. So pretty. And then a lighter green in the smaller tickets. These are gorgeous. And the cluster kit. So we looked at the rouge, but I don't think I had the cluster kit. And in this kit, you get the laser cut elements. The laser cut is really nice. Hello, Julie. So with those laser cuts, those are the really fine, detailed cut pieces. Then you get 6x12 chipboard elements. So I think this is your chipboard elements here. Then you've got your twine, your metal clips, buttons, and elastic. And so you can make various elements on your pages by using this. I think that definitely the laser cut elements are on my wish list. Let me see. I think it says you get 4 sheets of them. We'll just take a peek. This one, okay, that you can cut apart on the back. I love how they use everything. So, and there's those beautiful laser cut pieces that are so detailed. Like, look at that. So pretty. Yeah. This is nice because you get a nice assortment of what's in this collection. And you can see, you know, the greens are going to go still really nicely with that eucalyptus or with the blossom. Then I only have one of this. I didn't look to see whether this is another collection or not. It says Vintage Bits and it says Vintage Essentials. So maybe it's just something you mix in. I am not sure because I did not look on the website before I came on. Hello, Jennifer. These are very pretty. These are rub-ons. And there's 2 6x8 sheets. You've got the words there. Of course, these are going to match with whatever. They're very neutral. That's so pretty. And so these are going to match with whatever collection you love. I love these words. So pretty. So that's a 49 in Market. And if you didn't see last week, we looked at a whole bunch more of them. Now we've got the All and Create. So these are, I think they're paper. They're craft. I'm just trying to see what they're calling them. Well, they have numbers on them. They're obviously little pieces of paper. That's funny. Ugliness can be fixed. Stupidity is forever. And these ones look like they're a little bit snarky. So if you like the funny kind of snarky elements, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. True. So lots of funny little sentiments in here. You can kind of see there, this is number 3. These are printed on craft and they look like, they're just kind of funny things you can add on your pages, on your cards, and give them to people who would appreciate them and, kind of have a good laugh at them. You love snark. I know. They're so, when you can read them and laugh, I think, find your patience. I lose mine. They're just fun to send out. These ones here are, I don't even know what to call these. I'm going to look on the website. Like, I feel like I should have a name for them or something. Labels, let's see. Ephemera, it's just calling them, okay, so this one here was called Bite Me. That's so funny. And they're called ephemera. So there we go. Sentiment tags, yes, that would totally work. This one here, tiny words in color. So you've got the tiny words with the color added or in the white, and then you can add your own color or leave them black and white. These are very, very cute. Lots of little words. And here's a look. These are really adorable. These would be great, I think, for scrapbooking and cards, and then it looks like you get some that you could just write on or stamp on. Oh, these are, it says $14.95. And you get 140 pieces. Definitely lots in there. 192 of the Bite Me. Then these ones as well are, yeah, they're all $14.95. Cute. I love the writing that's on them, the handwriting. These ones here are called Sharp Tongues in white, and it looks like they're also in craft. Number 4 and number 6. So these, I would say, would be similar, but so this one says, I get enough exercise pushing my luck. Sweating while you shop count says, I think it's probably exercise. I'm thinking that, yeah. Let's see here. When nothing is going right, go left. So some more kind of snarky, cute sayings. Life is short. Smile while you still have teeth. That's funny. That would be funny on a birthday card. And then the same kind, but this one is in craft. Yeah, I get enough exercise pushing my luck. I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. I could put that on a card to my husband, I think. And this one is the same, but in black. Okay. So black, white, or craft. And the black has the white writing. So funny. The black things. All right, those are funny. I also grabbed this from my stash, and this is still in the shop. If you kind of like the All in Create style, there's a bunch of stencils and stamps that are in the store. And if there's something that's sold out and you would like it, just email Sandy at Scrap Shotz. This is really pretty with the stars, and that is in the store. Lots of stars. So we'll use this and do some of our ink, our distress ink. Hello, Sherry. That stencil is beautiful, isn't it? I know. I love kind of that vintage feel of their stamps, that mixed media feel. All right, here are the black opaque matte and clear transparent Duralar. And like I said, I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on them. These are by Graphics, but it looks like Ranger is selling them now. And Graphics has lots of videos as well. So of course this is clear. You can use they're great for alcohol inks. And then you can use them, as shakers or backgrounds or lots of fun things. But I think definitely we'll do a demo on these once I do a little bit of research on them. The sanding discs. Let's see here. These go on your blending tool. When I first saw them, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe there was something specific that they attach to, but because they just have this little felt backing, they are going to go right on to your blending tool, which I think is so brilliant. So if you've got something painted, let me find a piece of cardstock here. That Coordinations cardstock. I don't think they even sell that anymore, but something like that. Of course, it's not right in front of me. Or if you had something embossed, what you're looking for is never right in front. Hey? Okay, if you embossed and inked, and then, so let's put a little bit of this lost shadow. I don't know. I'm just playing here. Anything you would normally sand with. I don't think this is going to show. Oh, it kind of does. Like if you go around the edge of something and you wanted to add a little bit of distressing. Yeah, it does. Yeah. On embossed. Yes, Irene. So if you had an embossed panel, I know I have a bazillion just laying around, but Murphy's Law when you're looking for something. Let's try it on craft. This was one that we tried. So you can, if you had something raised that you would normally rub something over, then you're going to use that, and it's just on your little blending thing rather than trying to hold a piece of sandpaper. With this, let me just grab a little stamp here. Irene, I bought this finally. This print shop flower stamp. We're just going to try this because why not, right? And so oxides you can stamp over dark cardstock. So I'm getting out the Oxide Lost Shadow. And let's just try this. Hello, Diane. That is actually really nice. So just think about if you had and like a night sky, and I did see someone, okay, we're going to try adding some stenciling with those stars. I saw someone do a blend with a moon with this Lost Shadow, and it looked really beautiful. Let me just wipe this off. And we will dry it, because I think if it's not dry and we try to sand it, I don't know if the sanding will work on this. I'm just kind of playing around. But I do like the way that it adds the edging, kind of distresses the edges. Yeah, so you can kind of see you're just taking, it's a pretty fine sandpaper, so it's just taking off some of the top and just adding a really, obviously I don't know that you do this for the card front, but just to show you how it works. Okay, and then because we are playing around, let's grab this stencil. This is the Lots of Stars stencil, and I think this would look beautiful on a black background. So this is with the oxide. If you do ink, ink is translucent, and so it's not going to show up if you have a dark background, but the oxide will show up nicely. So I love the light color. And look how pretty. Yeah, I know. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. And to get into these little areas, I would use a blending brush. So let me just grab one here. Grab this one. Just because the sponge is flat and you've got lots of little tiny areas here. So if I was going to use my ink, my oxide ink, isn't that pretty? And then you just get this really subtle effect. So anything that is a dark cardstock is going to show up like that. Let me grab a piece of paper here. So this is just white cardstock. And if we try the oxide is going to be a softer color. And I think this is going to be just very soft and light. And then we'll do, yeah, look, isn't that beautiful? This, I think, it's superpower, is that it's in the background, it's your base, it's just really beautiful and soft. So if you have a card background, you want to start by stenciling something in the background, then you can go ahead and stamp over top using any of your other inks or stamps. because you've got this really beautiful soft background. So if I was doing a swatch for this, I've just got a star cut out because I was in the mood for stars. And it's just going to be a really nice light blend. And you will see in a minute, we'll do a background tag and you'll kind of see how it's going to shine. So I will go ahead later and blend the whole thing, but it's just very soft and light. Yeah, it's a great color. I love neutrals, and I think this one is definitely a keeper. So if I was, of course, distress inks and oxides, they work with water. I'm going to spray this over here, so I'm not going to spray all the stuff on my desk. So you can still get that water effect with that. And let's just dab that off. This is just regular cardstock, it's not watercolor, so once that dries, we'll be able to see that better. And then the ink, so if we do the bottom here with the ink, we'll get an idea of how the bottom will look. And all I'm going to do with this, I'm just lightly wiping it on here and then just wiping it on a cloth, just to make sure there's not a bunch of pigment ink on there. So that's all. Okay, now the ink. The ink is going to be a kind of a little bit stronger effect when you have it on light colored cardstock. If I'm stamping something or using it on black, oxide is really nice. Oxide blends nice as well. But you can see you get a little bit of a darker, that dye image, that dye ink. And then the oxide is more soft. Hello, Sandy. How are you? What are you catching up on? Catching up on work or just catching up on the video? Okay, and then if I took a piece of cardstock here, do our little swatch. And this isn't meant to go on like a super bright, vibrant color. It's your neutral, and it's going to be your helper color that works out in the background. Just nice and soft. Hello, Dee. All right, we're going to try our crayons in a second. And let's see, let's try the spray. I have the spray stain. There's also the oxide is in the shop. There's the paint, which you can do lots of fun techniques with the paint. And there are the re-inkers. And of course, you can use the Distress Ink re-inker as like a watercolor. So that's fun as well. I'm just going to get my box. I think I need to upgrade my box. It's looking very used, but that's what it's for. You had to run an errand while you had a driver. Perfect. So this is Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. So it's really nice for taking sprays, and you can see how lovely that spray is. So you will see when we do a little bit of a background tag or some background inking, what I think is amazing. And then I always just wipe the nozzle off of my spray after I'm done. see here. We've got our embossing powder, so the embossing glaze. And I'm going to give you an idea of how that works. So let's use this one again. Yeah, we'll use this one. So we've got some embossing ink. Now you can use the glaze over anything that's a colored ink as well. So I'm just pressing that onto my paper and grabbing a piece of cardstock. I really think somebody needs to come out with something fancy that actually works for the embossing powder. You were going to take a break buying. Sorry. Look away, Rhonda. The new Vicky Boutin pre-order will be up as soon as she reveals around the 3rd. Oh my goodness. Of course, I know. Every time I think, oh, I probably don't need it. And then I see her do her reveal and I think, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. So the embossing glazes are all translucent. He's got them in all of the colors that have come out, as well as some other colors as well. You can mix and match them. And you can blend them. You could, pour some of the gray and then another color on. Actually, like a purple would look beautiful. Maybe we should try that after. And it melts really quickly because it's really fine. This works really nice as well if you're stamping sentiments. So you could stamp in black and put this over. You could just stamp in clear. You can see it. It actually turns out really nicely. Irene has her hand up. She will be buying the Vicky Boutin collection. Okay, now I'm just going to grab another color of this glaze, if I can find it here. Something that I think might kind of go nicely with a gray, just to give you an idea of how, like I think maybe a purple or a pink. Like let's just try a purple. This one is Wilted Violet, but there's also, I'm not sure if that would be in the shop. The blue, how about we do Uncharted Mariner? That's probably in the store. But anything that goes with that cool gray tone would look beautiful. Just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about mixing them. So I'm going to use a leaf. It looks kind of weird because I don't have the outside of the flower on there. But you know what? We're just going to go with it. You can use Versamark. This one is Ranger. I think they're pretty much comparable, the inks. Okay, so if I was mixing the embossing powders, I've got my stamped image on there. It's a travel line. Nice. I really have not even looked at it closely. It was kind of on my list of things, but my list has been a little crazy lately. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit on, but you can see I didn't cover all of the image. And then I will go in with my other color. You could do a green as well, would look nice. I think that anything would look nice. I find with the distress colors, anything really matches. They seem to just go together so nicely. So this is the Uncharted Mariner. And then you just pour that over, and where the gray was not on, this will stick. And then you can still go back and put this right back in your jar. Now you can also just kind of flick on color if you just wanted to be even more, have it even more mixed. But I love these embossing powders. I think having these in all the colors so you can emboss any images, and it will match your ink as well. And you can see this stamp is really detailed. I think I got it there. And it really picks up the detail nicely. Time to start clearing out the older lines, yeah. Are you seeing the sail come on, Sandy? That's beautiful. And then here, you can see it kind of mixed in with the gray, but it's lovely. And again, I think mixing these with other colors is where it's really going to shine. I wanted to add a little bit of water to this so it can sit. All right, let's try our distress crayons, and then I have a couple more things to show you here. So the distress crayons, they're going to move around a lot nicer if you have watercolor paper or foundations paper. Here's the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. Or if you have a regular paper and you want to put like a collage medium on top of it. So the 49 and Market, those collage sheets would be really great to do with this. But I just have a little bit of leftover paper from this lemon twist line that I'm going to give you an idea. If you were creating a like a collage tag, for instance. So if I'm creating a collage tag, I would probably, if it was super quick and I just wanted, and I was late for someone's birthday party, not that that's ever happened before, and I just wanted to make them a little tag, then, you know what, we're going to do that. Then we're going to put a little bit of this on. Actually, I like it like that better. So if you have that 49 and Market, you can totally do the same type of idea. Okay, then we're going to add just a little piece right over here. And we can trim that off after. So I would take my Distress ink and I would do my edges with it first. And it's just adding just a really light gray around the edge. Not much at all, just a shadow. And I will show you something else as well while I have this out. Just adding a little bit of that gray. These are sometimes my favorite projects to make. Move this stuff off. Okay, I have this stamp, and I think there's two stamps here. They're not in the store, this Bubbles one, but I'm pretty sure this is something that Sandy could order in if you wanted it. And then I have this botanic collage, but there's the festive collage in the shop. And the festive collage as well, it has the you know, the leaves and the text, and that could work in the same way. So this one I thought was very cool because, but if you have any background stamps, this will be really nice. It comes with this big grid block, which I really love. So this is the ink, and I just have to show you this because I tried it for another video I did, and I absolutely loved how it turned out. So look at this. Is that, let's see what the pencils do. Yes, that is so beautiful. This just in the background, or if you had any kind of a brick stamp, anything like that. So we've got collage medium. We're going to do the crayons on here to Debbie. We're going to glue this. The collage medium acts like a glue, but it also, you can put it over the top and it creates, it allows you to collage, and then the crayons will move around really nicely. Carnival, yeah, Carnival's coming up, April. So excited. It seems kind of far away, but kind of close. Okay, we've got our paper on there. Now I would take a script stamp like this. And just stamp in the background. Again, I think this is where this ink is really going to shine. It's not overpowering anything. It's adding all these details. Like, just beautiful. And let's put the cover on that. Now I would just put a little bit of this collage medium over top. I'm going to use a paintbrush, and as soon as that dries, that's going to let us go over it with our crayons and try out our crayons. I'm not sure that these colors are super for this background, but that's okay. So you can just brush this on. We could have a little bit more probably, but that's probably going to be okay. And this cleans up nicely with water, but if you have it on your paintbrush, then you should probably, you know, put it in water, not let it dry on there, or it's going to be a little harder to get off. Okay, while that's drying, so that we can use our pencils or our crayons, we will use this with our pencils. So I have stamped this background with the Pink Fresh 2 weeks ago. I think we did the demo on this one, and this one is called Mixed Blooms, and it has the stencil set that goes with it. You already, you had to go and you bought the, oh, you already bought the print shop stamp set. Yes, sometimes it's hard to remember. I had the middle, there's two of them, and I had the other one, and every time I did a demo, I thought I should get that before it goes out of stock. Yes, definitely good to check and see if you have that. So let's grab one of our, all of these are back in stock, I think. There's, let's turn them over for you to see them. There's the watercolor set 1. That's what's in that one. This is number 2. And these are the pencils. And this is number 3. They're all beautiful colors. And I could not choose, so I decided to go with all of them. All right, and there's a whole demo. Actually, Debbie, if you didn't see the watercolor pencil demo, it was a few weeks ago, and we did a whole bunch of ideas with watercolor pencils. So if you're wondering all what they can do, that's a good one to check out. So I stamped this on the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. You could do it on watercolor paper as well. I like that this one is nice and smooth. And what I'm going to do, you can either color right on, and this is going to make a really nice no line coloring effect, or almost no line, because I've stamped with the ink, which of course is water soluble. So it's going to blend out, and then we can color, and the gray is light enough where it's not going to overpower our distress pencils. Now I've just put a tiny bit on, and you can see, let's zoom in a little bit. And this is just a soft, really soft look. You can definitely add more. These pencils are beautiful and vibrant. So if you want more color, you can add more on. Or you can also color, if you have a little, let's see here. What do I have that I can color on? That's not really working. A million things here, and it's, oh, I know what I could do. I'm going to dip this in water. So just to show you here. This is another way that you can watercolor with them. You can just dip them in the water, and that will add even more color. So you can see how really vibrant. There's lots of ways. You can color off to the side too, but you just need to have your craft sheet, which I don't have right in front of me. And then you can take your time, you can blend it out, you can add more highlights and shadows if you wanted to do that. And I'll just do a green leaf to give you an idea. But you can see once that was all colored, you wouldn't really even see much of that gray in the background. It would be more just a shadowing around the edge. So if I was doing, I'm going to let that red dry for a second. If I was doing green, I kind of like the way that when you dip it in, it has so much pigment. And then I would let each space dry before doing something right beside it. I'll do this leaf because it's not touching it. And because this is that foundations paper, you're going to be able to blend it out nicely. If you just did it on regular cardstock, you wouldn't be able to move it around as much, of course. I don't know if I cleaned my brush. So just to give you an idea, and you can blend these colors, and there's lots that you can do with them. They're just a really nice, you can do backgrounds and stuff, but I really loved the idea of using this nice soft gray ink. You used Evernote. Yes, that's a good idea to keep track of the sets that you have. So that is no line coloring with the Distress ink. And the other, I want to show you the crayons, and then just a spray background, and to give you an idea of how beautiful the spray accents. So this is pretty much dry. Let's add this blue on here. So this is the crayon, and these are more of like a waxy medium. And because we have that collage medium on here, that's allowing this to move around. If you just had this on a piece of paper, it wouldn't move around as nicely because, you're just adding it right to paper, whereas this has that little bit of stuff on the top. You can still see the stamping in the background, and if you wet your finger, you're going to be able to move it around even more. And you can do fun things. There's lots of videos on crayons, lots of fun things that you can do, but I feel like they definitely are different than the watercolor pencils. But I think you have to decide what works for you and what you're going to use, right? If you love doing this kind of collage, this looks beautiful. And you could color an image with your watercolor pencils, and you could pop it on there, and then you have your tag. That's ready to go. Here's a piece of that foundations paper. And if we just scribbled some on the background, just to give you an idea, that's the Wilted Violet. No, that's the Villainous Potion. This is the Uncharted Mariner. These colors will all look lovely together if you blend them too. And these will dry. And then after they're dry, they're not going to move around. Whereas the watercolor, unless you came in and you started really rubbing them, but still they don't move around a whole lot. I'll show you the pencil. So you can blend these. You are going to get some movement on here, but definitely not as much as if you came in with, say, the pencil. Let's just grab a couple different colors of the pencil. Here's a purple. These are all from set number 1, I think. Set number 2. This one is a really light color, the Kitsch Flamingo. And then, but of course you can wet the pencils as well. But these blend out a lot softer than if you were just trying to blend these on the background. So just a little bit different product. Still, it's nice that you can have them in the same color. You can mix and match and use them whatever way you want. So, love these colors. And then the last thing that we'll do is we'll take a piece of watercolor. Let's do a little tag. And we'll move our swatches around here. That's that stain. Beautiful. This is the ink. And this is the oxide. So I think how I will use the stain is to really accent some of the other colors. So let me see here. I have some distress stains. You can mix these with the oxide stains as well. Let's just take a couple out here. So this one happens to be saltwater taffy. So let's do this on the side. There's lots of ways that you can do backgrounds. This one is speckled egg. And let's see what we have here. We're just going to spray this with a little bit of water just to wet this so it goes onto our tag really nicely. And you're going to get a softer effect by spraying it and dipping it because we did add some water. And those colors mix, the blue and the pink, and then you're getting a little bit of like a soft kind of grayish purple. And how I like creating backgrounds is I do a little bit of this dipping. I might spray some of those stains right on the background because they're kind of light, and if I want them a little bit darker. But I really like that water droplet-y look that you get when you continue to dip it in. I'm going to wipe this up. I think I will come in with just a little bit more of this, just to, you can see, you can get those layers by adding your colors. We're going to keep that out. The speckled egg is kind of a gray blue as well. So let's add this, and then we're going to go in and add our spray stain, our lost shadow. And I think this works with whether you have really nice bright colors or more soft muted colors. And this is watercolor paper, so I didn't mention that. Okay, now we can come in with our spray stain. We could use, we can either just spray it on top, or we could come in kind of with this stencil. Let's dab up some of these drips. This I think would look really pretty. And you can see it's just really soft. Let's set that over there, and then we will take a piece of see. Let's just take a regular paper tag and we're just going to lay it in here because I feel like if you've got spray there, you should use it. And isn't that pretty? I know. This to me, this is your base right there. And you can do whatever you want over top. So for instance, here I had some kind of shimmery ones that I had just been playing around with stuff yesterday. When you come in and you add this spray, you can just see like it just adds that layer. It doesn't overtake the color. You still get whatever color you have, but you get this gorgeous kind of deepness to it. So I know that I will be really using this a lot. I really love how that turned out. Yeah. So that's that. I don't think there's anything else I need to show you. We could even come in. You're going to spray everything. Now that you have, or when you get the lost shadow, like look, I can, now I'm just looking around for like random tags. Okay, you can add little splatters. How cool is that going to be? And if you have the oxide spray, you do that on anything that's dark as well. And oxide looks beautiful once you add the water to it. You get such a cool effect. So definitely lots of options. What is new? We have a new challenge in the, let's zoom out a little here, a new challenge in the Facebook group, mixed media. So get out your sprays. Mixed media is, it doesn't have to be like super inky messy. Mixed media is just mixing different medias. So you can have ink and you could have a spray, or you could have some watercolor pencils and some gelatos or distress crayons, anything like that. And lots of product on your wish list, Cynthia? Awesome. Yeah, so anything that you're doing that's mixed media, be sure to add that to the album in the Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. And then we're going to draw at the end of the month for a gift certificate to the Scrap Shotz store. What else is new? I don't think anything else is new this week. Just it's February and there's a new February what's new in the shop. So be sure to check the January and the February. I know there was lots of new stuff that just hit the shop. And I hope that you guys have a really great weekend, get some crafting done, hang out and stay warm. Thanks, Rosie. I will talk to you guys later, and thank you so much for spending your time with me. Visa, here I come. Debbie is on her way. All right, guys. Thanks, Sandy. Bye.